Hello, I'm Abigail and welcome into my studio. I'm happy to have you here with me and I'm excited because I am going to be sharing with you my new collection that I'm starting and also work through a little bit of artist block together and how did I work through it, and maybe there's some tips and tricks for you if you're an artist as well and you run into the same issue. All right, so when starting this new collection, I knew that I wanted some kind of fantastical Candyland type feeling, so I always start with brainstorming. So I will open up my sketchbook, and this time I started with like a list of adjectives and animals I wanted to include in it, things like candy type items that I could think of, anything that could be a part of this world. I wrote it down. One thing I did go ahead and do this collection, which is something I don't normally do, but I'm constantly in this state of overwhelm. I've got like a bajillion things going on in my head and my gerbils are working overtime. So what I did this time is I decided to say, hey, here's my launch date that I want these to be launched by. I want to do a full shop update by August 12th is my goal. So I want to work backwards from that. So I wrote everything down here in my bullet journal one day and worked backwards from that, giving myself timelines, writing down the dates, and then that way now I've got a nice flow chart on what I need to be following to make sure I'm meeting my deadlines, to be able to make sure I meet my final deadline. With this one, with planning out my collection, it really was helpful because I'm normally like, I dive right in, like feet first type of girl. Like I don't overthink things. I just want to get in and I want to do it. But when I do that, it causes issues. Like I make more mistakes and then I don't have things planned out really well. And being a small business owner, I've learned that I've got to just slow down. First off, I'm the boss. I'm in control of these deadlines and these dates that I'm making up in my head. So that's on me. And then the second thing is that I need to slow down because I'm enjoying it more when I slow down. And when I slow down, I focus more on the process, and it all goes better and it's all a lot smoother when I just take that time to plan things out. And it's really been a great thing for me to learn as an individual because I am a go fast type of person and I'm really slowing down and just kind of sitting back and enjoying life a little bit more. So it's been a really cool thing to learn. All right, let's get back to the collection planning though. So after I wrote down all my adjectives and wrote down all the words that I could think of that related to this collection, I went into Pinterest. So Pinterest to me is like the gold mine of everything. The aesthetic of what I'm looking for. I literally searched like candy store, whimsical Candyland, and really just started trying to get the aesthetic down, my color palette. After I went through onto Pinterest, it was time for me to start sketching. And my sketches went through so many different iterations. As you can see here, I went through quite a bit. Elephants weren't something that I was used to sketching or drawing, so I definitely had to go through and like warm up quite a bit and get a feel for like their shapes and how their shapes like talk to each other. But once I got that figured out, I was like, done, got it, I know what elephant I'm doing. So I ended up deciding on the hippo and then the little fluffy panda and the elephant in the end. Today is the day I am beginning my adorable hippo, which is the first painting of my collection that I'm working on. And I've just spent the last, 20 minutes in mixing my paint. Sometimes I mix all my paint ahead of time, sometimes I don't. This is an instance where I did that, and holy smokes, I love oil paint. It's like butter, like mixing it is so nice. But anyways, I'm really excited about this. I wanted to make sure that I had all the paint put together nicely and it looks good sitting on the palette, so I know that when I put it on the painting, it'll all look nice together. Now, the biggest concern I have is, did I mix enough paint to do all the multiple layers? No. And then will I remember what I mixed so it stays consistent? have my other paintings already sketched out on my iPad, but I need to sit down and figure out their color palettes. So I'm gonna sit down and do that. Here's where I'm struggling. This point, I know that this panda, as cute as it is in this bubble and adorable and all the time I spent coloring it in, I love it, but it doesn't fit. He's the outlier. The hippo's going after candy and the elephant's got a little ice cream cone, and then this random panda is in the middle blowing bubbles, which is super freaking cute, but it doesn't make sense, right? So I knew I needed to redo it, and I had no idea how to go about this. It was really, really challenging. So I have some kind of real-time footage there, so let's check that out. All right, but first let's talk about sponsorship. I am not sponsored. I'm still very new at all of this, and I'm excited to be here and I'm excited to be doing this, but I know some of you still want to support me. So ways to support me are head on over to my website. It's abigailemmertart.com, and you can shop there, or go ahead and just hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Every little bit helps me. Thank you, and I appreciate it. I want to do this panda. I just don't know if he belongs in this collection, or at least doesn't belong as one of the oil paintings. I can't figure it out, and I don't know what to do. In this process that I was struggling, I had no idea if I even wanted to do a panda anymore. It was, do I do another animal? Do I keep with the panda? What do I do? It was so hard. And so I went into my creative journal and I started doing creative journaling, which is where I just start to try to write the story and tell the story. That wasn't working either. I was in a complete creative block. So my next step was like doing a full on creative lock-in, I guess is the right way to say it. My studio space is my creative space, and this is where I feel all of my creative juices and I feel inspired. So I knew I needed to close my doors. I needed to put my phone on focus mode. I was only going to be on screens if I was doing research for it, and sketch, just sketch, 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 sketch. Like, start something, don't like it, don't even finish it, move on to the next thing. We got it, and this is what I landed on. What I'm working on now is I do need to keep working on getting my collection figured out. My dog is playing another squeaky toy. I do need to get my collection colors, the rest of them figured out. So I take them on my iPad, and I'm going to go through and digitally paint everything and get all my colors and my highlights and my shadows figured out, especially since these aren't illustrations that I have really reference photos for. I definitely need to get all this figured out beforehand, so when I go to paint it, it's not something I'm having to think about, and I can just go in and paint and worry about that aspect of it all. So let's go do that. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that if you've ever had artist block, that this helps you get through it, or just it's fun to learn what different artists do too. I like to hear what other artists do when they don't know what's going on. One other thing I forgot to mention is I talk out loud to myself. When I have artist block, I will talk to myself and I will try to talk through it because I verbally process. That's just me. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. My next steps are definitely getting these paintings going, but having all of this done beforehand takes time, but I found that it is really worth taking that extra time, so then it's a more cohesive collection and I can go in and just paint, and I'm not doing all that thinking as much during the painting process. So just for me, I find that going about it this way is the best way for me. Let me know what you do. I'll talk to you later. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. And I'd love to hear from you in those comments. I'll see you around.